STALKER 2 is without doubt one of the biggest releases of the year, releasing on the back of years and years of anticipation, and having gone through an insanely tumultuous development cycle that saw developer GSC Game World having to grapple with Russia's invasion of its home country of Ukraine. The long-awaited open-world first-person shooter has looked increasingly promising, which means our excitement has continued to build. As such, here, as we count the days down to its release, we're going to go over a few key details that you should know about STALKER 2, starting with key information for those who intend to play the game on PC. Low and medium PC requirements. Every second of footage that we have seen of STALKER 2 has made it abundantly clear that the horror shooter is going to be a graphical powerhouse, so it's no surprise that its PC version has some pretty steep requirements, even on the lowest settings. For starters, an SSD and a whopping 160GB of free storage space are requirements across the board. Other than that, on low settings, which will run the game at 1080p and 30 FPS, you'll need either an i7-7700K or Ryzen 5 1600X, along with either a 6GB GeForce GTX 1060 or an 8GB Radeon RX 580. On medium settings, to play at 1080p and 60 FPS, you'll need either an i7-9700K or a Ryzen 7 3700X, and either a GeForce RTX 2070 Super, an RTX 4060, or a Radeon RX 5700 XT. On both low and medium presets, you'll also require 16GB of RAM. High and epic PC requirements. STALKER 2 Heart of Chernobyl will let PC players play the game at the highest possible settings. The high preset, which is the recommended one, will run the game at 1440p and 60 FPS. You will need either an i7-11700 or a Ryzen 7 5800X, along with either a GeForce RTX 3070 Ti, an RTX 4070, or a Radeon RX 6800 XT. Meanwhile, on epic settings, you'll be able to run the game at 4K and 60+ FPS, and will need either an i7 13700KF or a Ryzen 7 7700X, and either a GeForce RTX 4080 or a Radeon RX 7900 XTX. On both high and epic settings, you'll also need 32GB of RAM. Xbox storage requirements. STALKER 2 Heart of Chernobyl is clearly going to be a massive game, not just in terms of the size of its open world, which is an eye-watering 60+ square kilometers big, but also clearly with its graphical and technical ambitions. That's plainly evident in its massive 160GB storage requirements on PC, amongst other things. And unsurprisingly, the game has similarly high storage requirements on console. Preloading for STALKER 2 went live not too long ago, at which point it emerged that the game requires 147GB of free storage space on Xbox Series X and S, so make sure you have ample space free. DLSS3 support. Let's stick with STALKER 2's technical bullet points a little while longer here, because clearly there's a lot to talk about on this front. For instance, Nvidia has officially confirmed that the game's PC version will launch with support for DLSS3, with frame generation and super resolution. Thanks to DLSS3, STALKER 2 will boast an average of 2.4x performance improvements for GeForce RTX 40 series cards, with frame rates on RTX 4090, for instance, surpassing 120 FPS. Additionally, PC players will also be able to utilize NVIDIA Reflex, allowing for up to 45% latency reductions. Unlocked locations. Many locations from the older titles return in STALKER 2, including the pump station and the burnt farmstead, with the latter still infested with burner anomalies. However, some locations previously locked to the player have also been opened. If you peek inside, you'll discover a rodent den and a locked room, accessed by shooting a panel through a cracked wall. Thus, even for those familiar with several areas in the zone, there are still plenty of new things to discover. Enemy AI behavior. Much has been said about A-Life 2.0 and how it'll improve the previous game's approach to NPCs and their behavior. However, even during combat, you can expect some realistic AI from enemies. As game director Levgen Grigorovich outlined in the August deep dive, enemy AI falls into two categories: peaceful and not so peaceful. The latter triggers when an enemy or threat is nearby, but it won't home in on your location. Instead, it will theorize where the player may be hiding and then search around. If you're playing stealthy, this makes it easier to systematically take out enemies, especially if your last known whereabouts are unknown. Permanent faction shelters. We already know about the return of factions and how their behavior has evolved to the extent that they'll break up, change their leaders, or even do things against their ideology. However, they also have permanent shelters, which differ significantly in arrangements, offering a better look at how they live daily. Loners will remain solitary or segregated into small groups, while the duty maintains a more disciplined and orderly approach. However, Monolith arguably has the creepiest, residing in schools and having a contrast of toys, beds, and headless bodies. Lightning strikes. The zone is dangerous for many reasons, not the least of which is a day-night cycle, and you don't want to be out in the dark when the mutants come calling. However, there's also dynamic weather, which can manifest in different ways alongside phenomena like lightning strikes. As GSC Game World noted in its deep dive from August, these can prove beneficial, striking enemies out in the wild, but the player is also fair game. Knowing how to take advantage of it without ruining your plans is definitely vital. New and returning artifacts. Artifacts are mysterious objects which confer unique benefits to stalkers and make up a significant portion of the black market. GSC Game World has already confirmed the return of the Soul, Mama's Beads, and Kolobok in its YouTube shorts. However, it also revealed two new additions, Stone Heart and Magic Cube. The former may seem related to the Stone Blood and Stone Flower artifacts, but its function allows you to grab and carry more precious scrap, which could mean more carry weight. Magic Cube is a bit more mysterious, dubbed a rare treasure of gravitational anomalies, capable of tangible damping of external kinetic energy bursts. However, it's also nearly invisible while being irradiated by the infrared spectrum. Regardless of all of its functions, it's also valuable, which means you can sell it for a hefty sum. Dozens and dozens of artifacts. The revealed artifacts offer only a taste of what players can expect in the game. Cinematics team lead Igor Devontelis confirmed to Kinda Funny's Paris Lily that there are dozens and dozens of artifacts to discover. He also teases some of their effects, ranging from simple radiation resistance to getting sleepy over time. Since sleepiness can affect your vision and aim, it's necessary to have something on hand to keep you awake and offset the side effects. All of this plays into surviving in the zone, as you must decide on the ideal artifacts, weapons, and gear before embarking on expeditions. Weapon ballistics. We've spoken extensively about STALKER 2's gameplay and past features, which is why we focused on other elements here, but there is one particular detail worth going over that we haven't previously covered. An extensive gameplay deep dive in August revealed that the game will tout realistic ballistic simulations, which means every single shot you fire will be influenced by factors such as distance, wind speed, what weapon you're using, and whether or not your target has armor equipped. As is the case with pretty much everything else in this game, firefights will demand attention. Pre-order items. Pre-order bonuses are a thing for STALKER 2, but they're seemingly early unlocks. You can thus start with the Veteran Rifle, a modified Gvintar Rifle, and a Geiger counter helpfully attached, and the Tourist Suit, which protects against harsh environments like the Red Forest, thus implying some radiation resistance. There's also the STALKER Backpack with an early bird patch, but you also get additional stories and guitar songs that other stalkers will share around the campfire. Whether the latter is exclusive to pre-ordering or unlocked as you play remains to be seen. So, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.